Welcome to Show and Tell. In this series, I review brand new games quickly and with as much detail as possible. Ready? Go. There are a lot of modern video game consumers out there who love designing things, and not just designing things, but designing things that work. Games like Minecraft, City Skylines, and Prison Architect, all very successful, put a focus on creating something productive, or at the very least functional. So what if there was a game that rewarded you for designing something great, but even more so, rewarded you for creating fatal flaws, defects, if you will? What if in City Skylines, one day a rift opens up in your city, and if you can't destroy or stop the rift from spreading within a few months, the entire planet gets sucked in and the game ends? Say you knew it was going to happen at some point in your playthrough. What would you do about it? Put a nuclear device underneath your wonderful city, and the only way to set it off is if you press the button that only you have access to? Would you build a dome that could completely cover your city and prevent the rift from spreading elsewhere? What if a huge focus of the game is sneaking the cleverest Death Star-like weakness into your design that you possibly can? Then you get Defect, a sci-fi game where you can build your own ships. The gimmick is that after every successful mission, your crew turns on you and steals your ship. The stolen ship becomes the boss for the next mission you take on. At the very beginning of the game, you can get away with creating better and better ships to take on the previous models, but eventually there might be a mission where you have to create the tankiest ship you can, much tankier than any ship you'll be making anytime soon. That's when you need to begin putting fail-safes into your designs. Before I get into the meat of the review, I want to mention that this game is in early access on Steam, which means it's unfinished at the time of this review. If you're watching this at or after the release, then you're watching an out-of-date video. I plan to make another review of the full game, which is scheduled for May 2016, so have a look around my channel for that. The game on release may be unrecognizable from the game I'm reviewing now, so bear that in mind, but I doubt that's going to be a problem for a game that's as close to being finished as this one is. I've put about 6 hours into the game, and there's easily, just looking at the number of missions, 20 to 30 hours of content here, and probably more. I think most of the reason for the early access on the game is for getting feedback on the balance, because in Defect, much of the game relies on the player not being able to exploit the stats of their ships. I'm a fan of the way the game's presented. The missions are all played on a 2D plane that has the illusion of being 3D. The art direction certainly fits with the sci-fi theme, though the character designs are a little strange. I like them. I really like the dynamic music in the game. As you're playing a mission, the music will be relatively soft in the beginning, but as you fight more and more enemies, it gets more intense. It even changes based on the way you build your ship. There was one time where I think the music messed up for me. If that wasn't a bug, then that was some horrible sounding music. The gameplay is interesting. By default, you're using the left and right keys to turn your ship and forward key to go forward. When you get near an enemy, your guns fire automatically, and your job is simply lining up the shot. But as the captain of the ship, you can take direct control of a single part of the ship at any time. You can take control of the engines to speed up the ship, the hull to increase defenses, the guns to increase accuracy and fire rate, the wings to increase maneuverability. Basically, you are choosing where to delegate your resources as you fight other ships. And it all depends how you've built your ship. Maybe you built a super light fast ship that needs extra protection, so you take direct control of the hull most of the time. And the game does a really good job of forcing you to build different kinds of ships. Maybe there's a mission with a super fast ship you have to chase down, or you need a certain type of weapon on your ship. It's all done very cleverly, and all the while, whenever you build your ship, you need to consider the fact that eventually you're going to have to take it down. The story is as good as it needs to be. Some of the writing is kind of entertaining, but for all intents and purposes, there isn't really a story. Think XCOM. The story is there, but that's not why anyone is playing the game. The game is $15 on Steam. I mentioned earlier that someone could easily get 20 to 30 hours out of this game. It's fun, it's an original idea, and it's challenging. The thing that might put you off is that it's pretty difficult, but for most people that's not going to be much of an issue. It's also in early access, and that's a deal breaker for some people, and I don't blame them for that. For what it's worth, the game played absolutely fine with me, and there's so much content here that you wouldn't know it's an unfinished game. That said, if you're going to wait for a release, try not to forget about it. This is a special game and one that you should look out for. Defect gets a glowing recommendation from me. Thank you for watching. See ya.